Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm deciding to make this video just because there seems to be a lot of misinformation on YouTube and on the internet in general about what actually makes a good gaming PC for Minecraft, and I figured that I should probably comment on what's good and what's not just because I know a thing or two about computer hardware. I may make an extension of this video and actually build a budget system specifically for Minecraft, so leave a comment if you would want to see that. Otherwise, let's just dig in. So before we go into components, I want to mention that it's important to note what you're going for when you play. So are you going for shaders and frame rates above 60 FPS and that's like the only metric, or are you going for just best possible performance without shaders, so on? I will say off the start that if you're going for good performance with shaders, you will need a beefier graphics card than you would traditionally need. Also, Minecraft shaders are not very VRAM dependent, so without going too much into detail, go for a card with more processing capability and not necessarily one with more VRAM. This video is primarily focused on my audience, which really is the Minecraft PvP community, so highest possible frame rates without shaders are a must. To start talking about components, let's talk about the most important component of your Minecraft gaming PC, which is your CPU, or central processing unit. Sort of in line with other older games, Minecraft does not take advantage of sheer amounts of resources. So your Ryzen Threadripper, although a beast of a CPU, will not give the best overall performance on Minecraft, since it does not have great IPC relative to better, say, Intel consumer-grade processors. An important takeaway here where a lot of misconceptions seem to surface is the importance of core count versus IPC, or instructions per cycle. I saw Samito D's video from a while ago talking about this issue specifically, and he recommended that everyone gets an Intel Core i7 if you're looking for best possible performance. Some of his viewers were attentive to this statement, but their counterexamples were also very short-sighted. So although Core i7s usually are Intel's best processors, and almost every i7 ever released will give at least decent frame rates at the game, it is incorrect to say that i7s and lots of cores with hyper-threading or multi-threading are the best way to go. As an example, let's look at two processors, which will give very different experiences in-game. So compare Intel's i3-9100, which is a budget modern-day CPU, and AMD's older FX 8300. So the Intel processor has 4 cores without hyper-threading, has a base frequency of 3.6 GHz, and on occasion will boost a single core up to 4.2 GHz. It has 6 MB of L3 cache and uses Intel's Coffee Lake architecture. The AMD processor is an 8-core, 8-threaded chip with a 3.3 GHz base clock and turbo speeds up to 4.2 GHz with the ability to overclock, and has 8 MB of L3 cache. By Sam's argument in the other video, the FX chip would wipe the floor with the i3, but that simply is not the case. Minecraft is very dependent on IPC rather than high core counts, so the modern day i3 has much better IPC and enough cores where those won't be an issue. For the FX chip, technology just wasn't good enough at the time to keep up with modern day single-threaded performance, so this clearly wasn't a fair comparison, but just as an example to show why core count shouldn't really matter as much. Yeah, so the i3 would pretty much wipe the floor with the FX chip. That being said, any i3 is not going to cut it. Generally speaking, your best bang for the buck option is an overclockable i5, a newer i5 or i3 in general, or a Ryzen 3 or Ryzen 5 chip. Since all first-gen Core i CPUs are unlocked, if you're building a budget system, that's not a bad approach at all. In a similar vein, Ryzen chips come unlocked out of the box, so expect great IPC once your Ryzen 3 1200, for example, is overclocked to 3.8 or 4 GHz. Ryzen also has newer architecture than older Intel chips, so IPC should be at the very least on par with 3rd generation or newer Intel CPUs. If you're not looking to overclock, I'd suggest something like a Core i5 2400, i5 2500, i5 3470, or i5 3570, and those would all do perfectly fine in Minecraft. Now let's talk about graphics cards. So Minecraft is sort of funky about GPUs in my experience. In general, Minecraft is not graphically demanding, so you hypothetically would be able to get away on integrated graphics from your CPU without a problem. That being said, I've also found that Minecraft is decent at distributing some of the rendering load onto your graphics card, so having a dedicated GPU should be in the question. Again, we should be going for more processing power in our graphics card as opposed to a high VRAM buffer, so any modern day graphics card should be fine, although we aren't only limited to those. There were some pretty great cards back in the day, and you would be able to get away with anything from the high-end 4th generation GeForce cards up to current entry-level cards. AMD is sort of in the same boat, just in terms of age. A great card for a Minecraft system would be like a GTX 480, 570, 650, 650 Ti, 660, 750, 750 Ti, and so on. AMD has great older cards too, but I would really suggest an NVIDIA card just because you have the flexibility of recording using Shadowplay, which is an amazing feature. Support for older NVIDIA cards may be a little hairy, so if possible, opt for something in the 6th generation or newer if you want to record. RAM is the last big component to performance, but it really is just about having enough of it, which isn't that hard to do. Yes, RAM speeds and having more resources in general is a nice to have, and higher RAM speeds will improve performance, but not to the extent that you would think. Someone did a test and saw that an 800 megahertz difference in speed, which is a lot, from 1600 to 2400 megahertz resulted in a 30 to 40 FPS boost, which in terms of Minecraft and monitor refresh rates only really maxing out at 240 is not that big of a deal, since you're really looking at frame rates above this amount. I say go for an older platform and a good CPU with decent IPC rather than focus on RAM speed. Any system with 6 megabytes of RAM, or 6 gigabytes rather, or more should have no problem playing Minecraft and multitasking, so like talking through Discord and so on. So that's pretty much it. There's not too much more to overall performance for the exception of storage devices, but almost any drive should perform well enough. If you want to see a budget PC build for Minecraft on the channel, please leave a comment below. But otherwise, I hope this helped some of you. Thank you for watching. Peace.